Hi, I'm Kate, I'm an ultra runner and a running coach. Welcome to my channel. Here I talk all things about running. Well, as my subscribers already know, but if you're new here, I'm gonna tell you now, I really love going to different places and running in those places. Sometimes I even travel just in order to do my long run somewhere. Today I want to tell you a story about how I went to Dubai and how I was running there, because I found it a little bit tricky there, and I straight away want to say that I've been there only for a couple of days. I was there with two teenagers who went there with my daughter and her best friends for their birthday. They had birthday on the same day, on the Christmas day, so we thought, you know, we can go there to a nice sunny and warm place. And apparently, of course, I was running there. Just want to tell you a few things about my experience of running at that place, and also being a tourist, because I'm certainly sure that if you live there, you can find other running routes, you can find other places when you can run, maybe run in the desert or somewhere else. But I'm just gonna base this video on my absolutely personal experience and my sort of takeout and my impression of the place. We flew to Dubai. I think we took off in the morning because of the time difference. We actually landed in Dubai somewhere around, I don't really remember, but maybe 10 o'clock at night. Eventually we got to the apartment that we were staying in an area called Blue Waters by midnight actually, and I still had a run plan for that day. I couldn't do it in the morning because we were leaving really early in the morning on that day, and you know, I would have to basically run at night in order to do that, so that wasn't the best idea. I came there and I thought, okay, I am just gonna go running since in London it's not as late yet.
Past midnight, just arrived, went to groceries. I'm going out on a run. I mean, literally 20 past 12 at night. And I got no idea where you can go running here, because it's like, seems to be no pedestrian areas at all. But I'm gonna give it a try. But the weather is fantastic. It's really warm.
I must say I felt absolutely safe, which I cannot say about, you know, many other places in the world. If I were to go out running at night, I'm not sure I'm gonna feel safe in, you know, in some other cities. There it felt entirely safe. I did enjoy the fact that it was really warm. I was enjoying the weather. And I ran over a pedestrian bridge into an area called Dubai Marina.
So I did manage to find my way to the famous marina. I think that's probably one of the few places you can actually run here. It's empty. That I like a lot. I do love the weather a lot as well. I mean, it's past midnight, it's about plus 20, just amazing. That's perfect weather for me. But I'm only like a mile in my run, and I think there isn't a lot of area to run left. I mean, probably I'll have to go in circles.
When I opened Google Maps to see where I can actually run, the thing was that from the place where I was staying, I couldn't really run further than 4.5 km without having to take a car and drive somewhere. So basically from the area called Blue Waters, I could take one pedestrian bridge, go to the marina area and just run along there for, as I said in full, it was 4.5 km, and then I would have to turn around and go back. Well, fast forward a little bit, and I will say that basically that's the only place I ended up running.
So the thing is, you run near the water, waterfront, whatever it's called here, the marina, and then you kind of keep running and you presume that you're going to be able to go further, to the palm, but then all of a sudden you just end up in something like this, where I think I'm not going, because definitely there isn't a pedestrian route, and then you see a bridge, which is basically seems to be a car bridge rather than a pedestrian one. Don't really know. I think I'm going to turn around, go back. I'm not exploring this whole thing at 1 o'clock at night. Maybe tomorrow or the day after tomorrow I'm going to try and get there somehow by foot. I don't know. But anyway, I'm going to go back now.
Unfortunately, I do know that there is also a possibility of running. I think it's an 11K kind of a stretch. If you take that big palm, you go all the way to the top, and then you can run along the sea there. I think it's 11K from one point to another. But to get there, you would have to drive, which I didn't want to do. I didn't want to take a taxi for that. So basically the first night was great. I loved it. I loved the lights. Did seem quite artificial to me, but then what would you expect from a place built in the middle of desert? Next day, what happened was that I thought I'd go on a run. But once again, because I'm usually used to waking up really early and going on a run really early in the morning. This time I'm going to run in Dubai at daytime. It is pretty late, something like 11, I think. Because you know, in London it's still, what, 7? I'm gonna do this at daytime. I'm gonna check whether it's hot or like too hot to run. I think it's perfect, it seems perfect to me. And I'm gonna use the same route as the night. But the problem is that there is a 4 or 5 hour difference, so I couldn't do that in Dubai. So I went out running. I was doing my fartlek, and it was somewhere around 11:30 at daytime, and that was quite a mistake, I must say. I think I was too confident to I sort of overestimated how my tolerance to heat, because I actually love the heat, and it was December, as I've said. It didn't feel too hot for me. It was something like plus 25, maybe 27. For me, that temperature is usually absolutely comfortable. Also, the climate is pretty much dry there apparently, so you don't really feel like you're, you know, sweating all the time when you walk on the street, which can be the case in some more humid climates at that temperature. So I went out running. I did a fartlek on the same stretch, running there and back, as I said, those 4.5K. Unfortunately, couldn't find any other place to run and didn't have time to take a taxi and go somewhere else. I think I did get some sort of a heat stroke, I must admit. Very silly of me, especially, you know, having all the experience of running that I have, but as I said, I probably overestimated my heat tolerance and my love to running in the heat. And the thing is that it did feel a bit different from running at the same temperature somewhere else, because the sun seemed to be really, really, really intense. I did even have to stop for like a water stop. I got into a cafe to get some water for myself. Finished my run, 12K. While to me, this is perfect weather for running. Well, maybe a slightly bit colder, but I mean, generally I'd much prefer this heat to anything below 17 degrees. I'm gonna grab myself a coffee and enjoy the view. Came back, felt exhausted, didn't feel well. Actually, I did have some kind of a heat stroke because I did have headache for quite a long time after that run. The thing is that during daytime, the same route seemed different. I'm here in the daytime. Well, this is what Dubai actually feels like to me. It is quite artificial, and the odd thing, I mean, it's not odd, but maybe it's logical, but what happens is that you run in all this luxury, and everything seems to be so perfectly done, and then all of a sudden you run into something like this. I mean, it's not bad, it's not dirty or anything. I mean, dirtier,
than at other places, but then it's just so different. Everything else seems to be just a facade. I don't know, you just feel a little bit lied to. Not in a bad way, I mean, nothing bad's intended, but it's just odd. Like a friend of mine, like I wrote a post about it, and a friend of mine, she's a coder, she replied, it's like in a computer game maybe, there is this picture, and then behind it is just the empty code. When you're running somewhere in, I don't know, many other cities, let's say London or even Moscow or anywhere, you can sometimes be in sort of the wild. It wouldn't be like the wild, but it can be a park, some kind of place where you feel alone, especially in the morning. Here, even if you are alone, because everything's done by man and so perfectly done, you don't really feel like you can hide anywhere. But anyway, created by people, it feels very different. It feels like you're always being watched. You're not, probably. I'm not saying that you are, but I'm just telling you how it feels.
To be honest, but as I said, this is just my impression, it didn't seem as pretty as at night, because at night when you see all those skyscraper buildings, you have all the lights and it looks mesmerizing, it looks attractive. During daytime, especially when it's just kind of, you know, sun shining, not even one cloud in the sky, which can be really good. And also you feel that kind of, I mean, I wouldn't, that's how I felt. I can't say that the air is polluted or dirty, or you feel physically any sand or dust in the air, but the air feels different from how it feels in many other places I've been to. So for some, and you do see some kind of a haze, not coming from humidity, but probably, well, coming, you know, apparently it's a place in the desert, so what would you expect? So generally speaking, during daytime, I felt a little bit weird running there, also because I didn't really see any other runners. That was really strange for me. Maybe it was due to the time of day it was, and maybe I was the only silly person running at the time. But I did see some people sort of walking with dumbbells. Didn't see any runners. That sort of came strange to me, not even one person running. And then I just felt so much out of place. I felt like all the people who are here, they're about something different, really not about running on the street. I bet they might be running on a treadmill somewhere. Once again, can be due to climate, can be to some cultural stuff, despite the fact that the place is absolutely touristic. Maybe people just come there not to really do exercise. But yeah, it felt quite artificial, felt a little bit different from the night before. On my third day, I was actually going to take a taxi and go to that palm, as I said, to run on that kind of outer stretch of the palm, but I didn't, because I did have quite a severe headache and I didn't want to go anywhere too far away. I wanted to sleep a little bit more because of the headache. By the way, not advising anyone to run with a headache, so I just did the same route. But for some reason, the whole idea of having to drive somewhere in order to run somewhere, it sort of didn't click with me. That's not my kind of thing. Especially as a tourist, I want to, you know, start running right from the apartment where I'm staying or the hotel, and then be able to run literally everywhere. A friend of mine actually lived in the Palm, and the weird thing is that from where I was running to, I could actually see the Palm, but I couldn't run there. I couldn't walk there because there are no pedestrian paths there. There are really little areas where you can actually do any kind of outdoor exercises. That I found weird and unpleasant, personally, for me. Another thing, talking about the city itself, it's quite interesting how you can see the facade and it's shiny, nice, very clean. But then you sort of go somewhere like under a bridge, or you end up in a dead end like I did after that kind of a 4.5K. And then it's not dirty exactly. There's no, terrible graffiti or any rubbish, but it's kind of seems not finished, if you know what I mean. But not finished, not in the sense that they're doing something there to finish it and to make it look shiny and nice, but it's kind of left there. So wherever tourists wouldn't go, everything's left as it is, not really decorated in the same way as the places where tourists go. That's why the city does feel really artificial. That's how it felt to me. But as I said, I'm sure that there are other places there. Maybe locals will be able to show you an entirely different city. But my takeout of my trip there was that's probably not the best place for a runner to live and to train. Anyway, it was very interesting to get acquainted with the culture and with the city. I greatly enjoyed my trip there, but probably not that much of the running itself. If you want to hear more about how I run and travel, and also some advice on running, some exercises, I will be posting more of those here on this channel. So please do click the subscribe button and put a like to this video, and see you soon. Bye bye.